One of the things that I've noticed since entering into the realm of professional anime analysis is that the deeper I fall into the anime hole, the less likely I am to leave my cozy little otaku hovel. So I may or may not have a vested interest in praising a show that portrays this kind of lifestyle as being acceptable or potentially even desirable depending on the circumstances. Recovery of an MMO Junkie is a love story for the modern age, but more than that, it's a celebration of life. Morioka's decision to drop out of the corporate world to play MMOs all day might be an unusual one, but it's one that works for her. And the series makes it a point to say that that choice is beautiful and valid. Time and time again, we see that trying to conform to society and live her life in a specific way just because it's what's expected of her pressures her to the point of breaking. It's only once she gives up trying to please others and lives the life that she knows is right for herself that she becomes truly happy. Morioka's attitude toward the working world is visually expressed from the first time we see her. Look at the way she's dressed as she walks down the street after her last day at work. All black with a dark blue collared shirt and heels, the kind of attire that's equally at home at an office party or a funeral. Or a funeral office party. Or an office party at a funeral. Or an office funeral, I guess, if that's the kind of thing that your life has led you to having. She's even holding a bouquet, which enhances that whole grieving widow aesthetic she's got going on, in addition to representing everything good about her working life. Notice the bright flowers wrapped in yellow with a red ribbon, all totally contrasting Morioka's outfit and demeanor. The brightness of the bouquet, which we can assume was a going-away present, both serves as a reminder that there are elements of working life that Morioka could potentially find comforting or hard to leave, i.e. her co-workers, and contrasts the darkness of her outfit, which helps emphasize how out of place and distant she feels from the rest of that community. Then we get this scene. Oh wait, I forgot that footage of this show is poison. Hang on, I'll think of something. Got it. So here's the deal. Victor Entertainment has been incredibly stringent when it comes to taking down MMO Junkie videos on YouTube. So as much as I want to use footage from their incredible show while complying with YouTube's upload policy and fair use laws, in an attempt to explain to you why it's the best show of last season and convince you to buy merchandise, I can't. So, here's this instead. Fuck you. And so we got Morioka looking sad, walking down the street, going home from her last day at work. See the mountains in the first shot, they'll be important. Now I gotta say something that rhymes with work. See how she's got a bouquet, and then she throws it away. Says home sweet home and flops down on the bed. And it's like I said, fuck you, Victor Entertainment. God, that scene was better when it was moving. Fuck you, Victor Entertainment. But I guess you'll never know how it looks. Fuck you, Victor Entertainment. Cause I can't give Victor Entertainment free advertising. Victor Entertainment. Fuck you. Whoops. Fuck you. Notice the difference in color palette between this scene and the one before. Morioka's room is bright and pastel colored, and her furniture has an air of childishness to it with the vague cat motif. This, along with her first line of the series, Home Sweet Home, gives the viewer a clear sense of how comfortable Morioka feels at home compared to work. She flops down on the bed with her hair down, surrounded by soft light, compared to her stiff posture and hard demeanor when she was walking in the dark before. It's through this shot of her room that we also get a sense of what Morioka feels her life is lacking, mostly due to the existence of this body pillow. Having close connections with other people is one of the few human needs that cannot be satisfied on your own, and this body pillow tells us not only that Morioka craves those connections, but that she still craved them while she was working and surrounded by other people. It's only after she stops forcing herself to conform to society and devotes herself to her passions that she can form those genuine connections and her desires are finally satisfied. This is where Hayashi comes in. The creation of Hayashi is Morioka's first pure attempt at self-expression. In the physical world, she has baggage that prevents her from living exactly the life she wants. Social anxiety, lack of self-confidence, a body she isn't happy with, etc. But in Fruits de Mer, she's able to create a character who... Bark! What's that, boy? Bark! They say what in the dub? Bark! Fruits de... In Fruits de Mer, she's able to create a character who lets her express her best self, because who wouldn't want to be a hot guy if given the choice, am I right? Hayashi is confident and focused, a knight-class character who's willing to run headlong into battle no matter how badly that totally not Pikachu thing is clearly kicking his ass. He brushes himself off and throws himself back into the fray, just like Morioka doesn't when faced with the impossible task of overcoming the various stressors of her working life. Hayashi also shows how much Morioka has grown since her days of playing Nanter-SG. Yuki and Hayashi represent different stages of Morioka's ascent into neathood. Put simply, we see more of Morioka in Yuki than we do in Hayashi. While playing Nanter-SG, we see that Morioka is still doing her best to balance a life that she hates against the life that she wants. Watch this, or listen to this. Watch this. Second verse, same as the first. 2, 3, 4. Not really. I was kidding. It's very different. Go. So, like, in the scene that I want to talk about this time, there's, like, Yuki and Hearth, and they're sitting around playing the less important MMO, Nanter-SG, and, like, Yuki's talking to Hearth, and she says something like, "Aw, man, Hearth, I wish I could quit my job." And then Hearth is all like, why can't you talk to someone in HR about it? And Yuki's like, "Fuck you." And then she's all like, "I actually, let me look up the exact quote here, because the exact quote is important."
Fuck you, fuck you.
She says that she cares about her job and wants to see it through. So that's really important that she said that. And I'm gonna explain why as soon as the song is over.
You, Victor Entertainment.
Say it with me now.
You, Victor Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
One more time.
Fuck you.
That's good. When she says that she cares about her job and wants to see it through, there are three possibilities. Either Morioka is overestimating her own ability to handle the corporate world, which would explain why it took her so long to make the choice to quit her job, since quitting would mean failing at something she cares about, or she's intentionally lying to Hearth, which gives us a sense that Morioka is just now starting to separate her physical and online lives before deciding to choose between them and ultimately making the wrong choice, or she's lying to herself and trying to believe that office work is what she really wants to do. Either way, the important thing here is that Morioka, during her days of playing Nanter-SG, is not trying to be her best self, at least not in an honest way. She's being the person who she wants to be. Someone who's content with working overtime, transferring calls, and filling out spreadsheets. She can't be happy for as long as she continues to try to convince herself that that's the kind of person she is, and that's expressed by the way she's not happy. Hayashi represents a complete separation of her virtual and physical lives, at least at first. He's everything she isn't and everything she wants to be. Handsome, confident, capable, blue. But it's worth mentioning that Hayashi isn't any good at the game, not until he meets Lily. For all of his confidence and self-assuredness, he's not able to beat Yellow Raticate until he has someone backing him up, a literal support class supporting him. Their relationship, and eventually the relationship between Morioka and Sakurai, is shown through some very clever and playful light symbolism. We first see Morioka download fucking Fruits de Mer in the morning, and natural light is coming into her room. While she's playing with Lily, the sun gradually sets until the only light in her room, her only source of happiness and comfort, is coming from her computer monitor. This represents a shift in light symbolism through the series. Before now, darkness has represented all of the anxieties in Morioka's life, as is symbolized in the first shot of the series. The very first thing we see in MMO Junkie is this shot of the top of some roofs of buildings with mountains in the background, but the mountains are obscured by darkness and fog. We get a shot that mirrors this one while Hayashi and Lily are talking together in Fruits de Mer. See here how the colors are bright and pleasant, and we can perfectly see this beautiful mountainscape through the bright sunlight in-game. This represents a transition from where Morioka was trying to find happiness happiness before, in her job, to where she's trying to find it now, in-game. While Hayashi and Lily are interacting in-game, we see the sun set through Morioka's window as the natural light of the outside world is replaced with darkness and the blue light from the computer monitor. From this moment on, darkness is associated with comfort and honesty. Note how she originally bumps into Sakurai during the day, when neither of them is being honest about their respective online identities. Most of the scenes we get with Hayashi and Lily sitting in a tree happen at night, and when Hayashi first finds the bracelets that establish he and Lily as a matching pair, the camera pans up to show the light of the moon streaming down through the roof of the dungeon. So when Hayashi first meets Lily in the respawn chapel and the viewer sees her giant head blotting out the sun, that's important visual symbolism because it suggests that she's going to act as a source of respite from Morioka's stresses and ultimate acceptance of who she really is. Case in point, Hayashi calls her an angel, a savior figure. This light symbolism continues as Sakurai and Morioka develop their relationship, but let's briefly talk about Sakurai first. Sakurai's relationship with MMOs is much like Morioka's, but the series treats it very differently. Ultimately, what he wants from fucking fruits de mer is to form close connections with other people, to have a means of being alone but not lonely. He specifically mentions loving the little interactions with his fellow players, saying good morning and see ya like a family. With Hayashi, he has something like that, and he wants to maintain it, but there's a deeper desire there, the desire for family. Sakurai wants a physical family, as is demonstrated by the anecdote about the deaths of his adopted parents, and there are several shots in the series that emphasize this loneliness and desire, specifically this one, which we're going to talk about in a minute. When he feels his relationship with Hayashi becoming complicated, first because he's unsure of how to interact with him after finding out his true identity, and then because of Morioka's growing feelings for Koiwai, he makes the decision to preserve that relationship. He says, "I am Lily. I'm Hayashi's partner and a woman," before vowing not to pursue Morioka any further. Sakurai's decision to give up his romantic pursuit of Morioka to maintain their online relationship is similar to Morioka's decision to give up her working life in favor of her gaming life. But unlike Morioka's decision, which is beneficial to her and portrayed as such, Sakurai's choice here is only shown to hurt him. Giving up his physical life with Morioka might be what he thinks is best given the circumstances, but it isn't what he wants. It isn't a decision that's honest. It's what he feels he's expected to do. That brings us to this shot. Sakurai is standing alone on the far left of the frame while Morioka is just off screen. There's a divide between them that's caused both by her growing feelings for Koiwai and by Sakurai's own feelings that he's betraying her by not revealing his identity as Lily. The angles of the rooftops and the sidewalk lead the eye directly to Sakurai's back, which emphasizes both how alone he feels and how guarded he's being with his emotions and his identity. But most important here is the light, which is coming from in front of him, where Morioka is standing. Sakurai's path to happiness, to having the family that he wants, is right in front of him. But we can't see it because he's closed it off to himself, instead recognizing that Morioka wants Koiwai and allowing him to pursue her without even putting his own hat in the ring. Again, Sakurai is doing what he thinks is best, closing off his physical relationship with Morioka so that everyone involved can be happier. But that decision isn't honest to what he wants, and so we constantly see him in pain as a result, literally clutching his chest. This plays into the way he presents himself when playing as Lily. When Pokotaro asks Lily what she would have done if she hadn't gotten the prize that she wanted from the loot boxes, she sees it as a non-question. She would have just kept spending money until she got the full set of gear. Lily goes after what she wants no matter the cost, unlike Sakurai, who gives up on pursuing Morioka as soon as she expresses any real interest in someone else. And that's part of what takes MMO Junkie from being a good show to being a great one. No matter how much it's willing to laud Morioka for making the decision to pursue her virtual life over her physical one, it never says that decision is right for everyone. Notice how the series isn't called Recovery of an MMO Junkie Condemnation of the Horrible Physical Life. Its interest isn't in pushing for any particular lifestyle, but rather on living an honest life that's true to who you are and who you want to be. Morioka giving up her working life for her MMOs is portrayed as a good decision because the stress of her job was eating her alive to the point where she equates working with death. Sakurai, almost giving up his physical relationship with Morioka in favor of his virtual one with Hayashi, is portrayed as bad and painful because he's not doing it out of a genuine belief that that's what's best for him. He's doing it for the same reason that Morioka kept her job as long as she did, because he feels like it's what he's expected to do. But MMO Junkie's ultimate declaration that any honest life is beautiful comes from wingman of the decade, Koiwai. Of all the characters in MMO Junkie, Koiwai is the most honest with himself. He holds down his intense corporate job not out of any sense of duty or responsibility, but because he enjoys it. When he plays fucking Fruits de Mer with Morioka, his character is silly and out of place, and he admits that she's based on a character from another game. Harumi isn't an extension of Koiwai in the way that Hayashi and Lily are extensions of Morioka and Sakurai. He made her the way she is because he loves the ridiculousness of it. Harumi is just a toy, Koiwai's way of enjoying fucking Fruits de Mer, and there's nothing wrong with that. In a show that takes online gaming so seriously and makes such a big deal out of the value of online connections, having a character like Koiwai who literally only plays the game to have fun and spend time with Morioka is pretty incredible. The life that Koiwai wants to live doesn't lie in the world of MMOs. It lies in the world of sales and spreadsheets, the world that Morioka equated with a mass of faceless people patiently waiting their turn to kill themselves. Furthermore, Koiwai's attempts at hooking Morioka up with Sakurai, even though they may be a little bit scummy in some respects, also show a degree of self-confidence and honesty that's rare for other characters in the series. Koiwai recognizes that his feelings for Morioka are mostly sexual, or at least not serious. He absolutely wants to get with her and her big ones, but he wouldn't necessarily want to stay with her. Sakurai, he knows, wants something deeper than that. It's through an honest evaluation of his priorities and compassion for his friend that he tries his damnedest to get the two of them together, even when Sakurai himself insists that Koiwai should go after her. He's kinda the ultimate bro in a lot of ways, and his brohood comes from an internal desire to see his friends happy and not from external expectations. And it's by coming to terms with their honest selves that Sakurai and Morioka are eventually able to wind up together. As they're walking down the street toward their date, we see them reflected in the store window, but not as their physical selves, as Hayashi and Lily, the representations of who they want their ideal selves to be. We see how their respective interactions with MMOs have allowed them to become better people, both by improving their images of themselves and by connecting them with each other. When Morioka trips over her heels, she has someone there to catch her, just like she's always wanted. And when she tries to pull away, Sakurai holds her hand tight, not letting her escape him, asserting himself, like he's always wanted. The two of them have grown and gotten closer to their ideal lives through their connections with each other, their interactions with the game, and their decision to be honest with themselves about what they want. And that's the point of MMO Junkie, that we all have desires and goals for our lives. Some of them are conventional, some of them aren't, but what's sure is that happiness doesn't come when we try to fit ourselves into a mold that isn't right for us. Morioka found the companionship she wanted when she dedicated herself to her passion. Sakurai found the family that he wanted when he asserted himself. Koiwai found the happiness he wanted by being Koiwai because he's ya boy Koiwai and he's wonderful. None of these lifestyles are universally desirable. No lifestyle is, but each of them is correct because they lead the characters in question to being happy and honest with themselves. MMO Junkie tells us that no matter how our society wants us to live or what decisions we think would be best for the people around us, our lives matter, and the decisions we make for the sake of others have impacts that lead us to places we don't want to be. Stop forcing yourself to be something you're not. You have one life. Live it right. Assuming Victor Entertainment isn't a dick and doesn't take this video down on some bullshit copyright claim, I have another MMO Junkie video in the works. Not having to take more notes substantially cuts down on video production time, so hopefully the next one will be released relatively soon, hopefully maybe?
Bark!
Shut up, you. If Victor Entertainment does decide to be a dick about my glowing recommendation of their wonderful intellectual property, even though I didn't use any of their footage or music, I guess I'll just have to do that other Made in Abyss video I've been tossing around in my head. As always, thank you to my patrons, and a quick note for anybody who's interested, if you're watching this video, then the Patreon Minecraft server just had its server reset, so now's the perfect time to get in on that if you want to. You can also get other cool perks, like playing video games with me on the weekly Patreon live streams, getting access to all my notes and scripts, early access to side notes cover songs, weekly progress reports so you can see exactly what I'm doing with my 4-week breaks between videos, access to a Patreon exclusive Discord server, and monthly YouTubing lessons for all of you aspiring content creators out there. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, I guess. In side channel news, Questing Mark has either just wrapped up or is about to wrap up the Doki Doki Literature Club Let's Play that I did with Evan. Plus, we are about to pass 5,000 subscribers over there, so that's cool. Link in the description. Thank you to Mariah for her voice acting in parts 25 and 26. It was wonderful. And I just did my first French cover on Side Notes, so check that out if you're interested in bouncy, acoustic, folksy stuff in French. Link in the description. And a special thank you to Project Tussle at TussleDev, who helped me to do a little bit of research and put together that lovely Fruits de Mer compilation at the beginning. You're the best.
So, that compilation didn't wind up happening. There were, like, lots of technical issues that I didn't understand. I'm having to be very careful to, like, put my head in front of Evan, who's on my bed playing Kingsway, because he does not want to be seen right now, because he's not beautiful.
What?
What? That's what you always say to me. You're not beautiful, so you don't want to be seen. You have to go do your hair and shit.
Am I not beautiful?
No!
Ouch.
Thank you, Project Tussle, for the work that you did. I'm sorry that the compilation didn't make it into the video. You're really still great. Thank you for your help. Evan, do you want the people to see you?
Hi.
That was Evan. Okay, thank you very much.
And you know what? The rest of you are the best too. Thanks for your support, both here and on Patreon and on Twitter, I guess, if you're into that. And until next time, this has been Explanation Points, signing the various terms of service agreements for my different social media accounts. Ta-ta!